Yeah, hi, Mike. Kurt was in here and said one of the kind of differences for the offenses this year, one of the focuses he had the last couple of years, kind of improving on the red zone, finding new concepts. What's that been like, and how has that developed? Like, what's been different about your kind of red zone approach maybe than in past years?
Yeah, I think it started in training camp. In August, we definitely spent a lot more time in that field zone and practicing different plays. We added a few things that I think have helped us. But we want to be aggressive when we get down there, and sometimes that means, throwing the ball into the end zone on first or second down when typically teams might be expecting you to run the football. We have a variety of plays. We still RPO, and then I feel like we've stuck to what we've done well with the personnel that we have here, and find ways to create matchups down there that are favorable for us.
You talked about RPOs there. I mean, it's a little bit simplistic, but just how important has Curtis been in terms of the trust you guys give him? I'm not asking for like maybe a percentage of plays, but it just seems like more than maybe most quarterbacks, he's getting the option pre and even post snap to kind of decide what happens, what play is run. Just how important is how has he earned that trust, and how important is his decision making in those moments?
Yeah, I would say he earned the trust since he got here in January. He had some experience with it at Ohio as well. But just the amount of reps that we accumulate on those throughout spring ball and then into training camp and throughout the season, I feel like he's become really comfortable with all those things that we're asking him to do. And then his decision-making has been, obviously very on point throughout the whole year. He knows when to hand the ball off. He knows when to give a receiver a chance. He trusts some guys to win versus man-to-man at times. And, he's just very smart with the football. And each and every week that we've gone through the season, I feel like, he's felt more comfortable with it, and definitely has gained our trust from a very early stage in practice.
Hey, Coach. Notre Dame's played well on defense this year. Talk about facing what you've seen on film, and do they remind you of anybody you guys have played this year?
Yeah, they have really good personnel. I would say their personnel is going to be very similar to the Michigans and Ohio States, and we've seen countless other good players throughout the year, whether that's in the secondary or on the D-line, linebackers. But they're going to be up there with the best that we've played. They play really fast. They keep you off balance. They don't make anything easy for you. They challenge you on the perimeter, and they're physical. They're always running the football, and they've created a ton of turnovers. So we got to do a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage in the run game and in protections. Obviously, protecting the football is a key every single week, and then we got to find a way to create some explosive plays.
We'll go Todd and Pete.
Notre Dame coach Marcus Freeman said yesterday that Howard Cross will be back for this game. I know you've probably prepared. He hasn't played lately, but I'm sure you've prepared for him. But what is one guy can one guy kind of change the way the defensive front looks? And I don't know if it changes your preparation, but how much do you kind of account for that?
Yeah, we'll be very aware of when he's on the field, and making sure that what we're calling in that situation, or up front, if we're able to get some double teams on him, we'll take advantage of that when we can. But he's a proven guy. He's very active for a bigger guy with his size. He moves very well. He's quick. He reminds me of some of the D linemen that we have here on our team. And he's very disruptive. So we'll have to do a good job of getting double teams on him, like I just said. But also we'll try to stick to what we do well, and maybe change some schemes up where we might be able to get the ball on the perimeter, or maybe not run it right at him.
Coach, up here, you brought in Surratt and Price to make an impact. They certainly have. What makes them stand out?
They're both extremely competitive. They work their butts off throughout the week in their preparation on the field. They're really good, smart football players as well. They have the ability to adjust to what the defense is giving them and find ways to get open. And I would say that with a lot of the guys that we're playing with on the perimeter, add Keyshawn Williams, Miles Cross, Coop, Kobe, and those guys whenever they're in there. I've been very fortunate with that whole group, and Miles and Elijah have had really good years up to this point. But they're always hungry. They're hungrier to find ways to continue to get better, and they've just been able to make a lot of different plays for us with the ball in their hands or down the field in the pass game, and it's been it's been good to see their hard work pay off throughout the year.
We'll go Robbie on your left, and then we'll go to Zoom to Adam.
Yeah, Coach, obviously, one thing that stands out about you guys is downfield blocking by the receivers. It gets a lot of praise. PFF is referenced. And at what point did you guys decide, hey, this is going to be a point of emphasis for us because it can be really impactful? Kind of what's the genesis of making this something that's really important?
That starts from day one. And that starts with Coach Signetti and myself, obviously demanding it from those guys. And I put it like this to them. There's about 70 plays in the game roughly. Usually if you get 5 to 10 footballs thrown your way throughout the game in the pass game, you feel pretty good about it. But that still leaves about 60 other plays in the game where you may not be getting the ball. So how are you making an impact without the ball in your hands? And I'm always very I like to point out whenever we see the running backs pick up a blitz in protection or a tight end make a key block for them on the perimeter after the catch. Things like that where their teammates are busting their butts to help them get a catch or make a big play. We should be doing the same thing for the other guys.
We'll go to Adam on Zoom.
Mike, I know you guys have started fast, but you actually have more points in the second and fourth quarters. I'm curious, in a game like this, what's more important, executing that script and starting quickly, or adjusting to their adjustment of you, in that second quarter, maybe later in the game?
Yeah, definitely equally as important. With this time off, one of the things that we're always trying to get a gauge on in that first series and into the second quarter is, what is their plan against us? Is it man coverage? Is it zone coverage? Are they blitzing? Are they just rushing four? How are they trying to affect the passer? Things of that nature we're trying to get a gauge on and then make the proper adjustments from there. But really at the end of the day, it comes down to our execution. We, in this time off, we've been able to, prepare for these guys for a couple weeks now, and also, give our players not only their main couple looks that they like to run on defense, but some of the one-offs as well, just so whenever things come up in the game, we're able to talk about it and get it adjusted.
We'll go Daniel on your right, and then Zach B.
Yeah, Mike, I want to see you mention OSU and UM and just how challenging whatever it was. Just like when you look at Notre Dame, what have you guys maybe learned from the two challenges then that you might change here this week?
Well, the Ohio State and the Michigan game were a little bit different for us. And really some of it was winning one-on-one matchups. Some of it was, maybe we dropped a couple passes that we typically don't drop, or miss a throw, miss a read, things of that nature. Sometimes it was mental errors with assignments. So it was a combination of all those things. I felt like, our guys really learned a lot over those last 2 weeks, and you saw the response that we were looking for in the Purdue game. So I'm looking forward to carrying that over from what we put on tape against Purdue, and learning from those past experience against Ohio State and Michigan, and being able to go out there and execute at a high level on Friday.
Zach B front right, and then Jack, and then Seth.
Coach, on that Ohio State game, what are some of those things that you guys learned from yourselves in that road and hostile environment, and how prepared do you guys think you'll be for that in South Bend?
Yeah, I think we learned that mistakes that we made were definitely magnified in a tight ball game against a really good team, and a lot of those things were under our control and things that from an execution standpoint we just didn't get it done. And I think our guys learned from that film. The crowd noise did play a little bit of a factor in that, but at the same time, we're ready to respond and get another chance to play in a big-time atmosphere like we will be in on Friday, and prove that wasn't us in some instances, where we fell short against Ohio State.
To your left, Seth, and then Jack.
Yeah, Mike, Zach Horton can be kind of an unsung hero in the offense at times. I mean, in terms of snap count, one of the higher usage tight ends in the country. What makes him such a valuable piece to your offense?
Yeah, he brings an edge. He brings some toughness. He's a guy who's very detailed. He wants to do it exactly the way we're asking him to do it every single play. He's in incredible shape. For him to play as hard as he plays, and the amount of plays that he's playing within a game, I'm always been very impressed with that part of his game. And his just versatility. He can block the defensive ends in the box. He can block linebackers and DBs out in space, and he does a really good job catching the football whenever a pass comes his way. So he's really just an all-around, really good player. Complete player, and a guy that we have a lot of trust in.
Jack on your left, and then wrap with Jim.
Yeah, specifically with Curtis Rourke after the Ohio State game, what were some of your conversations like with him, and what do you think he kind of took away from that game?
We just evaluated it like we did every other game throughout the year. There's always room for improvement. There's always things we can do to be better. And not only him, but it's just everybody on offense. Myself, everybody involved. So. We just evaluated it really closely, learned from it, and moved on. And I think, like I said just a little bit ago, you saw the result that we had the following week, and the response was everything that we wanted it to be. But that was in the past. Now it's all about us being able to go out there and do it all again this Friday.
Jim, wraps up.
Coach, the secondary of Notre Dame, obviously very, very good, one of the best around. What is it you want or need to see from your run game to have a bigger impact for the offense in totality?
Yeah, definitely controlling the line of scrimmage, and starts up front with those guys. Being efficient whenever we are running the football, keeping us in positive down distance scenarios. We're going to have our one-on-ones on the outside at some point or the other. They like to play a lot of man coverage, but they challenge you. They make every throw is contested. They make you be accurate with the football. They make you have to be great with releases, top of the routes, things down the field to be able to create separation and get open. Relying on that run game, and because the thing about playing a lot of man-to-man is sometimes when you can break through that first and second level, there's opportunities for explosive passes or explosive runs there as well. So, being able to stay ahead of the sticks, I think, will be really big as far as just our whole operation on offense will go.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you, guys.